What's up, guys? It's been a while, but I don't know. We've got a season pass card coming in February that I'm really excited for. I was already excited for Iron Patriot in January, but Sam Wilson, Captain America, is a crazy card that I'm super excited for. So I figured, let's talk about the February season. Just kind of spontaneously do it. So let's do it. Uh, Season pass card, Sam Wilson, Captain America. 2-3. Game start, add Cap's shield to a random location. Ongoing, you can move Cap's shield. And Cap's shield is a 1-1 that says ongoing, this can't be destroyed. Give your Cap +2 power when this moves to Cap's location. So, pretty cool. This is the first card ever that's gonna give you something on the board immediately before the game even starts, right? So you're immediately gonna start with priority, and this opens up like obviously this if you play this on turn two or turn three, he's a 2/7. Just as a side note. Um, but even if you don't draw him, you start with a 1/1 that can't be destroyed. And that opens up a lot of avenues for deck building, right? So I don't know. I don't think this card is crazy in terms of like Surtur or something Surfer or whatever, Zabu, but I think he's very incredibly interesting for deck building because of all of his synergies. So let's go over them real quick. Not that one. Oops. No, okay, whatever. I can find. Let's just go over some synergies, right? So we've got Cull Obsidian, so you can play a Surtur deck and automatically get get guaranteed to have a one drop every single time. Like I don't know, is that crazy to me? I feel like that's crazy. Because right now Surtur is stuck playing shit like uh, crap like Squirrel Girl or Nico Minoru in a deck with a bunch of big guys. That doesn't really make sense because like you get the hood or like the destroy option, it's unplayable. Um, so you don't have to play crappy one drops. You can literally just play Sam Wilson. Always have an option for somewhere to play Cull. For where the shield is to play Cull, I should say. And if you have Sam Wilson out, then that just basically means that Cull has no downside because you can just move the shield to wherever you want to play the Cull, right? Obviously, Blue Marvel, Spectrum, Captain America, since the shield says Cap's location, so similar to Doom 2099, we're kind of expecting that Cap can also mean Captain America. And I don't know, there's also Captain Marvel, so I don't think it's going to work with Captain Marvel, but who knows, maybe. Um, and then Mockingbird is also a really interesting synergy. You kind of basically just start with Mockingbird as 5/9 right at the beginning of the game. So that's very interesting. Um, I think there's a lot of stuff and a lot of avenues that you can go into for this. And let me try to get some more synergies that I had written out for you that I think are interesting. Ant-Man and Martyr. Well, basically just the whole zoo thing. You got Ant-Man, Martyr, Dazzler. Mojo is one of the easy ones to think about. So, I don't know why it doesn't show. There we go. Uh, Dazzler, Iron Patriot. So you immediately start with that prio. You immediately start with an extra power at that location. So if you play Iron Patriot on two, you have an extra power to try and win that location on three. A couple move synergies like Craven, Miles Morales, coming in that can kind of synergize with the when you draw Sam Wilson, move him around. Ironheart gets a target so you don't feel as bad playing it on turn two. Marvel Boy automatically gets a target, which is really interesting because a lot of times if you play him on three, you don't get the value of hitting all three one drops that turn. So this makes it a lot more likely to have something on the board. Elsa, maybe we can see a resurgence of Elsa Bloodstone decks. you don't have to curve a 1 or 2 Elsa and then start procking Elsa on 4. You can afford to miss one. You can afford to miss a 1 drop or a 2 drop and still fill the Elsa lane and start procking it on turn 4. So that's really interesting. Kazar obviously with Zoo, and then Natuma was another interesting thing. So obviously he destroys a random card, so it could still hit one of your other things, but it lowers the odds. So just another consideration for Surtur decks, or another upside for Surtur decks is that sometimes it's going to hit the shield instead of another card if you're forced to play the Atuma, right? Um, but yeah, I don't know. Incredible card. I'm incredibly interested in it. I think he's going to be great. And then let's move on. Check out the rest of the cards. We got Joaquin Torres Falcon. He's a 3/4 that says ongoing. The on-reveal abilities of your one-cost cards here happen twice. Um, so bounce, regular bounce, is that finally gonna have a comeback? I'm so tired of bounce just being a move, like part of the move thing, and like that wasn't really what it was originally intended to be. So I always thought that was kind of lame. So this supports regular bounce, which is awesome. Just to go over a couple of synergies that we have for Joaquin Torres, that you guys might not have in your head. We've got the Hood, Silver Sable, Rocket Raccoon, Iceman, Nico Minoru, um, just as a couple. What are some other ones? Regular Hawkeye, maybe you don't want to do that. Yondu is an option, so you can play Mill with this. I was considering doing an Iceman and Joaquin addition to Mill, and then you have Yondu, you have the Hood and Iceman. You can really brick your opponent very well with that, and then you can repeat it with Misery as well. So that's super interesting. Um, and yeah, I don't know. I'm really interested for Joaquin Torres. I'm excited. Bishop was a card that this is probably going to be replacing, so he's obviously a lot better if you play him at the end of the game. And he's a lot more, I don't know, he sounds really fun, is what I'm trying to get at. Um, and then obviously the Spotlight Week is Namora and Makari. I'm excited to finally get Makari since I skipped on her before. I don't know, she's a shapeshifter apparently. Don't ask me, this variant sucks. But yeah, really excited for this. I don't know if this is gonna push regular bounce with 1 drops to get over that line that it's been struggling to get past since the Silver Sable nerf. Maybe it is, maybe it's not. But I'm excited to try him out. He was data mined as a 3/3, but I guess with the OTA they updated him to a 3/4 last second. So who knows? Maybe that helps. But yeah, really excited for that. Next up, we have Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross. He's a 2/2. That says when your opponent ends a turn with unspent energy, draw a card with 10 or more power, right? So obviously the first thought is, guess what? We're gonna play this in Surtur. So there's supporting Surtur some more. And this feels like a really easy way to not only draw it, make sure that you have a 4 drop on turn 4, but to always have your Scar available on turn 6 for that pop off. Um, Here's the one thing I don't like, or the two things I don't like. He sucks late game. He's a 2/2, and like let's just say you play him on turn 4. If they don't skip energy on 4 or even 5, like he's a 2/2. It's not even like he got. I don't know. You have to play him on 2 or on 3 and hope for the best, and then your opponent has to not curve for you to draw a card. So like if you draw your 4 drop on turn 5, it's not as nice, right? So. Um, he's helpful. I really do hate that he has anti-synergy with Ares, because you're going to draw your big card that's going to then make your Ares more likely to whiff. Um, so what I'm expecting is that you're going to try to always play Ares early on turn 4 if you have him. So, but yeah, I don't know. He seems like a shoe-in for there. Maybe some combo decks like Hela might be interested in this. I was thinking Black Knight. If you remember the Black Knight, what was it? The Black Knight like tempo decks, I guess would be the best way to say it. They have Ghost Rider. That's another kind of avenue that I was thinking about maybe using this. You can draw your Infinite more often. You can draw your Black Cat. Um, just some things to think about. It's really nice when you can draw Red Hulk since Red Hulk wants to be in your hand early. So that's another little, and it's pretty neat that Thaddeus wants to works well with Red Hulk. So that's a pretty neat synergy. I'm trying to think of if there's anything else that I'm missing here. Um, Maybe High Evolutionary to draw your Hulk, your She-Hulk, and your Infinite. I don't know how badly you want them to justify running a 2/2, but it's just an option. Um, but yeah, I don't know. It seems pretty interesting. Pretty excited to try this card out. And yeah, I would say if you're not a big Surtur fan, it's probably fine to skip him. You don't really need him in any other deck. Black Knight has sucked for a while. And that's Black Knight's probably the second most obvious place I can think of for him. So yeah. And Red Wing. So this one's the real tragedy. Red Wing is a 3/3 that says the first time this moves, add a card from your hand to the old location. So I don't know, man. This is a bummer. His old effect was that he was a 1/2 that would return a one cost card at that location and give it +2 power. And that was like it was way too broken. It was too broken. Um, but it was so cool. It had synergy with Falcon. It just it felt perfect. But we couldn't have that probably most likely because Human Torch is stupid. So that's a shame. Anyways, onto this actual card. So 3/3. Um, I can't really think of a home. It's really weird because like move the traditional move decks, I should say, don't want this because they would rather just move the Vulture or Dagger or Human Torch, and they don't really play many big cards, and a lot of the cards are kind of combo centric, so you don't want to pull your Ghost Spider, for example. You don't want to pull your Toxin when there's nothing in that lane or whatever. Um, so that's kind of awkward. So I have two ideas for this, right? You can play some kind of a Heimdall, Madam Web tempo deck where you're already playing like Spider-Man 2099 and you just want stats on the board and this gives you stats when you move it with Madam Web or Heimdall. Um some people have tried that already and had a little bit of success with that. I'm not going to say that it's an unplayable idea. Um but I don't think this is like a game changer for the deck. Nor do I think that that deck is going to break the met all of a sudden. So really, probably the easiest skip for me. He's going to come with Baron Zemo and Loki. Also, probably skips for that I would recommend for someone if you really like Mill. You can play Zemo, but yeah, I don't know. I'm sorry, I forgot to mention Blink and Nebula with Thunderbolt Ross. But yeah, final spotlight. We've got Diamondback, a card that I actually am pretty interested in. She's a 3/3 that says ongoing enemy cards here afflicted with negative power have an additional -2 power. Um, and then she's coming with Nimrod and Phoenix Force. Yucky. Sorry for anyone that wants to pull for Diamondback and get stuck having to get those cards. But yeah, Diamondback, pretty interesting. She has that synergy with Afflict, obviously, and you're probably not going to play her anywhere else. But she is pretty good if you can get that going. So I like that she's low stats when you play her without the synergy. So what you can do is you can play some kind of hazmat deck, and then you lose priority because you're playing 3/3s and 5/7s and stuff like that, like Ajax. And then you swing back with the hazmat, and it's this huge play. And hazmat obviously wants you to throw priority. That way you can get maximum value, afflicting their turn 6 cards, right? So that's a pretty neat synergy. She's a 3 cost that also likes getting pulled by Malekith quite a bit. She's a lot more powerful when your opponent doesn't know that she's going to be coming out on that lane. You know, if she's afflicting 4 cards on your opponent's side, she's a 3/11 effectively. Um, and, and and that's quite a lot more than people might be expecting off of Malekith, right? So that's a neat synergy. That's pretty nice. Um, Here's my concern. If you don't have Hazmat, how often are you really afflicting most of their board? And not to mention, if they don't have many cards on that side of the board, you play this on three, they're gonna try to avoid that side for the most part. Maybe they'll play. What happens if they have two cards there? Then you play the 3/7 maybe that you had to do extra work for. Was that really worth it, right? Um, I think that Afflict is already a deck that is kind of difficult to fit cards into. So like let's just see. Let's just look at Afflict cards if you don't get the Hazmat, right? Um, there's cards that you don't really want to play. Like I don't want to play I don't want to play Scorpion. I don't want to play Cassandra Nova. Red Guardian is a single target, so what? Now your Diamondback is a 3/5. Is that really worth it? No, not really. Um, Lasher? Like I don't want to play Lasher. Spider Woman sucks. Um, so it gets kind of awkward, right? Like Cassandra Nova sucks with Malekith, so you don't really want to play her. Rocket Raccoon and Groot, maybe, I suppose. But if you're hitting Rocket Raccoon and Groot, you're already doing pretty well for yourself. Sounds pretty win more, right? So I don't know. Um, I don't I think that people are overselling her as always being a 3/11. Because first off, your opponent has to have the board filled, and second off, you have to draw Hazmat, and if you don't, um, minus power, does that pull up? I don't know. It's just awkward. Like Man Thing and U.S. Agent aren't going to hit their whole board, right? They're only going to hit parts of their board, so you can't guarantee the Diamondback to be huge. So I'm definitely gonna be trying her. I like the synergy with Malekith. I like the throwing priority. I don't like that we're always depending on Hazmat for her to be good. That's my concern. So there's that. But yeah. Let's see, what were the other cards that are coming? We have Batroc the Leaper. I remember Batroc was Data Mind. So he's not gonna be in spotlights. Likely from a Deadpool's Diner or high voltage kind of event. So he's a 1/2. Says when a card moves, follow it to gain +2 power once per turn. Pretty interesting. Kind of gonna emulate that Werewolf by Night in that you have to make space on the board for him to be able to move and not clog yourself out on the last turn. Um, Pretty interesting that you can do friendly moves or enemy moves. So obviously you want to be playing this in the Scream deck, which is really nice because their one drops suck. Yes, I said that Kingpin sucks, and Nebula's pretty mid. So this is really nice. Maybe it's better. Honestly, it's probably not even that much better, but it's a nice inclusion. It's pretty interesting. Maybe this makes you want to look at Silk decks again, which is really a shame that she's kind of unplayable now. So pretty cool. Honestly, pretty fun. And then what was the other name? Cobra? Is that what his name is? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Cobra. So he used to have this really lame ability beforehand that you can only play this at the location where your opponent has exactly one card. They totally reworked him, and now he's a lot more interesting. 2/3 activate. Switch an enemy card here that didn't start in your opponent's deck to your side. So that's pretty interesting. Works well against I don't know, random locations, against decks like Arsham, decks like Victoria Hand, stuff like that. Um, I kind of don't hope this works very often or is a very good card. And I don't expect it to be very good, but it's an interesting card at least. It's a lot more interesting than its initial ideas. So there's that as well. But yeah, I hope you guys were interested in what's coming in February. Um, if you don't know, I'm very excited for the cards coming in uh in March, so I'll probably do another video for March. But so far for February, really excited for Sam Wilson. Joaquin Torres sounds fun to play with. Thaddeus Ross is gonna help out Surtur, maybe some Black Knight. Red Wing is a skip unless you really like Madam Web, Heimdall, Tempo. And sorry, I should have mentioned also Lockjaw decks that run Madam Web. Uh, maybe you throw in a Heimdall or something like that in those lists as well. And Red Wing has an extra home in those decks, so maybe. But either way, I don't really want to play those decks, so I'm probably gonna skip on him. And then Diamondback, pretty cool for Afflict. Likely not a huge game changer for the deck, but pretty interesting at least. And she has a pretty cool variant in the Ryan Gonzalez that I'm excited to get. So yeah. Thanks for listening, guys. And if you see me playing in February, just know, and I should probably say this, in the decks I'm going to be playing. I'm going to be playing Spectrum Captain America Sam Wilson decks. I'm going to be playing some Surtur decks with Thaddeus Ross and Sam Wilson so that I always have a Cole Obsidian play without having to run really crappy one drops. So I think that's really interesting. I might be playing a Sam Wilson deck with Quicksilver and Marvel Boy. So if you play Marvel Boy on 3, he automatically gets 2 every single time. So at the end of the game, he is what 3-9. So I think that's pretty interesting. There's that. I'm definitely going to be trying one drop bounce and hoping for the best with King Taurus. I don't know if it's going to work out, but hopefully. And then finally, I'm going to be playing some Afflict, some of the usual. I don't expect the deck to change much, if at all. But yeah, I don't know. It should be fun. So thanks for listening, guys, as always. And yeah, well, I should say one last thing. There's a whole bunch of really good variants. So if you haven't checked them out yet, I would recommend checking out Snap.fan because I'm getting a lot of variants this month, and this Ares is probably my most exciting variant. So thanks for listening, and let me know what variant you're most excited for, what card you're most excited for, and look forward to that March video. I'm very excited to make that March video as soon as data mines are in to confirm what each of the cards do. So yeah, thanks for listening, guys, and see you later.